All right. So we talked about position battles earlier in the show. Now we're going to get into the inner squad offense and defensive battles that are starting at training camp. I think it's important. Some of these offense and defensive battles are going to decide who the actual starter at a position is. And we'll get into that when we go down the list of these. So I think these are some of the battles that we are looking forward to. You guys have mentioned some of these in the comments, some videos of what you guys want to see. So we kind of put a list together. And so these are some of the battles here. First one, George Pickins and Joey Porter Jr. I mean, look, iron sharpens iron, people. 1 versus 1, 2 budding stars. Can Joey Porter Jr. establish himself as a shutdown corner in the National Football League and be a top 10 corner? According to Pro Football Focus, he's only number 32 when he ended the season at number 20 last year. But that's a different conversation. Different conversation for a different day. Pro Football Focus, you know how I feel about the nerd analytics. We'll get into that a little bit later. But, yeah, I think George Pickens actually wins this battle. Now, again, we're not going to see a lot of this in, like, team periods because you're not doing that 1 versus 1. We're talking about 1-on-1s, 7-on-7, individual drills, things of that nature. We're going to see that. We want to see that. And again, Mike Tomlin does a great job of creating the competition. And that's what we want to see. And George Pickens, in my opinion, will get the best of Joey Porter Jr. just for the simple fact he's just more athletic, man. He's just an athletic freak. Just an athletic freak. Better quarterback play. He's just an athletic freak. I can't wait to see what George Pickens does this year. Doesn't mean that Joey Porter Jr. is not any good either, before anybody says that. I think he's a top 10 corner right now. I think he can get higher. That's how much confidence, though, I have in George Pickens. Move on. Now, the next one, look here. TJ Watt versus Moore and Fautanu. When I was talking earlier, when I mentioned how Fautanu, or better yet, when the position battle, we're going to see who wins, TJ Watt is going to whip both of these guys. That's going to happen. I mean, he's the best defender in the league, one of the best ever as far as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He's that good. He is just that good. Having said that, these other two got to fight, man. And that's what we want to see. We want to see those two fight. Look, Dan Moore Jr., that we went over that. Does he really want to play the position? I'm not sure. Troy Fautanu, I think he's a rookie that says, I'm comfortable playing on the right side. I prefer the right side. Well, okay, here's your baptism to the National Football League. You got the best defensive player in the league that you're going to have to battle during camp. That's how you get better. That's literally how you get better, man. You can't simulate anything that would give him anything more than this. This is so good for him. And he's got to win. He's got to put up the fight. And I think he will. I really think he will. But that's a offensive defensive battle that I believe is going to decide a position. Because whoever puts up the best fight and handles their own against TJ Watt, that's the guy that's got to win the job. That's just my personal opinion. Next up, another offensive line, defensive pass rusher, Alex Highsmith and Broderick Jones. Look, Broderick Jones has been named the starter as the left tackle. Alex Highsmith is pretty good. And I think both of these guys are going to make each other better. I mentioned this earlier. Iron sharpens iron. Yeah. Now, is Alex Highsmith TJ Watt? No. But that doesn't mean he's not good, because he's absolutely good. Broderick Jones moving over to his more natural left tackle position. I love it. Going to make both of them better. It's a key battle. Again, it's not going to decide who wins the job. I think it's just going to make each other better, which in turn makes the Pittsburgh Steelers better. Great battle there. Now, here's one that's pretty low key, is Zach Frazier and Keanu Benton. Now, look, Zach Frazier is the starting center for the Steelers. You've seen some depth charts out there that say that he's not yet. He's the starting center. Okay. And he needs to be the starting center. And he's going to play well. Here's the thing. A center doesn't really block a guy one-on-one. That's few and far between. Maybe on a stretch play from time to time, but even then he gets help. Keanu Benton is going to be he's a budding star in this league. I think he's going to end up, by the end of this season, I think he's going to be one of the rising stars as far as defensive tackles in the National Football League. I truly believe that. I think he's that good. I think he can be that good. He was just scratching the surface last year. Didn't know how to be a professional last year. Just kind of going out there on instinct and playing. I think he's in professional shape this year. I think he's got more of a professional mindset this year because, again, he didn't know last year. It's not his fault, but now he does. And I think from what you've heard, his work ethic is very, very good. And I believe he's going to come out and just dominate the scene. Now, again, I think he's going to end up winning these battles. You're not going to see a ton of these, but Zach Frazier is playing between two pretty good guards, especially Isaac, that's going to help him. But this battle is going to belong to Keanu just because he's that good of a player. Zach can become good, but he's a rookie. Going to see a lot of things he's never seen before. Going to see a lot of things from Keanu he hadn't seen before. Next up, now this is a goodie. Pat Freiermuth and Peyton Wilson. First thing, now, ding, 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 you know what Steelers Almighty thinks about contract years. Pat Freiermuth's in a contract year. So he's going to be giving everything. Hey, man, I'm trying to get paid. I want to get paid. And if he's wanting to get paid in camp, if he doesn't get his contract before camp, then this is one of the ways that he's going to do it. Going out here and dominating during training camp. Hey, guys, what are you doing? Get me signed before the season starts, please. I think he wins this over Peyton Wilson. But again, I think this is another opportunity for Peyton Wilson to show, hey, man, I'm the starter here. I'm that good. I can cover guys like Pat Freiermuth out here. I'm that good. I'm that athletic. I'm that good in coverage. We know Pat Freiermuth, when healthy, is a top 10 tight end. He just is. He is. Especially the way Arthur Smith is going to use him. I've mentioned it before. Freiermuth might actually be the number 2 receiving target on the team behind George Pickens. Not wide receiver 2, just option 2 in the passing game, which would be okay with me. And I think it would be okay with a lot of Steeler fans. And if Peyton Wilson can come out and show, hey, man, I'm not overmatched here, then you got to get him on the field. And you got to get him on the field early. I've said it before. I think he is the guy on the defense right now that has to play earlier than later. I just believe that. His athleticism is just off the charts. You can't just keep that guy on special teams and playing, 7 to 10 snaps a game. He's got to get more than that on the defensive side of the ball. This is a good opportunity for him to do that. Next up, we got Russ and Mika. Look, now I know what you're saying. This is not really that big of a battle, but yeah, it kind of is. First off, we got to get Mika back to playing free safety. They've said everything under the sun that they are going to get him back to his natural position. Thank goodness. He doesn't have to play down in the box because of the limitations of others. He doesn't have to play slot corner because of the limitations of others. Got to stay healthy. But I think part of that, he was playing out of position, getting hurt. I just believe Minka is going to get back to being that dominant free safety that we all know and love. And look, Russ, 7-on-7 and 1-on-1s, you got to do your thing. You got to do your thing. This is your opportunity to prove not only to yourself, but also to the defense and everybody else that, hey, man, this guy, he's the real deal. I'm interested to see some of these camp battles with Russ and Minka and the whole secondary and receiving core in general. And that's probably what I should have put, is the receiving core versus the secondary, but I just broke it down to Russ versus Minka. I like this position battle a lot. I think Russ needs to win more than he loses. I'll be honest with you. I think Russ needs to win more than he loses. And then lastly, I got Najee Harris and Patrick Queen. Look, what did we just talk about as far as contracts? Najee not only is playing for a contract, he's playing because the team that he's on says we are not giving you a new contract. So he's auditioning to get paid somewhere else. So he's going to bring his A game. Patrick Queen just got paid. And It's usually not good. When guys get paid, again, you know how we feel. When guys get paid, they usually take a step back. Come on, Patrick Queen. Prove Steelers Almighty wrong. Prove us wrong, man. Prove us that, hey, man, you're just as hungry after you got paid. Hopefully that's a real thing. Another thing to keep in mind with all of this, just because guys are teammates does not mean that guys are not competing 100% at camp. It doesn't mean that at all. They absolutely are. These are their jobs. They're trying to either get paid, keep their job. This is their livelihood. And they look at it that way. They're professionals. So yes, they can go out here and beat each other's head and all of that stuff in practice. They can play spades. They can play dominoes. They can go grab a drink, whatever. They can do that later. But while they're in practice, especially training camp, yeah, they're competing. They're getting ready for a season. They're trying to win a job. And that's what this is all about. Doesn't mean you hate each other. There's going to be fights, but it doesn't mean you hate each other. It just means, hey, man, I'm competing. This is how you compete. Everybody's out there trying to win a job, trying to keep a job, trying to get paid. That's what we want. Again, I've said it twice. I'll say it a third time. Mike Tomlin does an outstanding job of keeping training camp competitive. He just does. And the Steelers are going to be ready. Now, whether that's good or not, I don't know. I happen to think it is, by the way. But we'll find out. Bottom line, the physicality isn't going to be the issue for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The competition in training camp isn't going to be a reason why the Steelers season is bad if it happens to go bad. That won't be the reason why, because they're going to be ready to play.